Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day or night it may be. In this video, we're talking about live filters. Now, live filters are a great way to start doing some cool edits in Affinity Photo. And the awesome thing about them is they are, number one, non-destructive. So if you put a filter on, you can always go back and change it. And number two, they have built-in masks, which can make your workflow even more intense. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but let's just get started. So as always, I like to make sure my studio looks like your studio by setting things back to default, by going up to Window, Studio, and Reset Studio. If you've seen any of my videos, I just always do that. I just like to do that. Okay, so live filters are located in two different places. You can either go up to your menu here and go up to Layer, New Live Filter Layer, and they're all in here. Or you can look down in the bottom of your layers panel and you have this looks like an hourglass kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. And if you click on that, all your live filters will be in here as well. So I'm just gonna do a couple examples and let's just get started. So I got this road here. What I'm gonna do is go to my text tool and I'm just gonna draw out some text. And I'm gonna want this text to appear on the road. I want it to be flat and look like it's actually written on the road. So I'm gonna go to my live filters. And for this particular one, I am going to pick perspective. And when I pick perspective, you'll see my perspective filter pops up in my text. So it's already popped up as sort of a child layer to my text because I had that selected. I got this little box here and these little bounding boxes here. So what I'm gonna do is just drag them down to actually change the perspective of the text. So I'm gonna put it down as much as I can, sort of on the ground here. We'll see how this turns out. So I'm gonna put this on the ground and make it look like it's actually written on the ground. Okay, so I did that. Looks okay, doesn't look great. What I'm gonna do now is just apply a blend mode. And if you don't know what blend modes are, guess what? Guess who's got a video on blend modes? I do. I'm gonna link it below. Super powerful too. We're gonna go to blend modes. I'm just gonna grab a blend mode here to make this look a little bit more like it's actually attached to the road. Let's go with overlay. Looked pretty good. Let's go with overlay for this one. We'll just try it. Okay, so say I have this. It's on the road. Looks okay, but I'm actually like, you know what? I need to make it bigger. So I'm gonna click on it here. And I'm gonna drag it out and I'm gonna make it bigger, right? So it looks like it's on the road. Now, because this is a live filter, it doesn't quite look like it's aligned flat now because I've made the size bigger, but no need to worry because it's non-destructive. I can just go over to my layer or to my live perspective filter here. I'm gonna click on it. It's gonna reappear and it's gonna let me readjust again. So I'm gonna drag it down a little bit just to flatten it out and make sure that it looks that is on the ground. There we go. So that is how you would use a live filter for perspective. And like I said, it's non-destructive. So if you want to ever click on your live filter and edit it, it's possible. So no damage done. So that's example number one. You can obviously put this on a wall or in the sky or underwater to make it look however you want it to look. Next example. Okay, so we got this guy, this dude, and he's got what I did is I put I'm gonna put a tattoo on him, all right? So this doesn't look so great right now. Again, blend mode, I'm gonna put a blend mode on him to blend it into his skin here. So let's just change his blend mode. I'm gonna let's go to multiply because multiply looks kind of real. I'm gonna zoom into his arm here. Now, what I'm gonna do is, this tattoo looks okay on his arm, but it wouldn't just kind of be sitting on his arm like that. It would be a bit of an angle, it'd be stretched around his arm. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to first apply a live filter. So I'm gonna go down to my live filter here. And on this one, I'm gonna select mesh warp. When I do that, I'm gonna get these little bounding boxes. You're gonna see the mesh warp has appeared as a live layer filter below my tattoo. And you can use these things to drag this. And I'm gonna pull this out as if it was around his arm. I can use these boxes. I can also double click, and new lines will be created. And I'm gonna pull this out. Now I'm gonna need some further editing beyond this, but I just wanna pull this around his arm to make it look as if, the tattoo's actually more so around his arm. So it looks a bit more real. And I'll pull a couple of these guys this way, and maybe down this way to look like it's kind of fitted on his arm a little bit better, because that's actually how it would look. Maybe down like that. Okay, so I'm gonna hit done. And now it looks a little bit better. What I'm gonna do is go up to his tattoo and I'm gonna bring the opacity down, the transparency, just so the ink looks a little bit more real through his skin instead of just, super, super dark. Now, a couple ways I can get rid of the rest of this tattoo. It's not really what I was going for. So I'm gonna go up to my tattoo. I'm gonna apply a mask. Oh, you don't know about masks? Guess who's got a video on masks? I do. Gonna link it below. You can learn everything about masks and how powerful they actually are. Now this is gonna be super quick. I'm gonna grab my paintbrush here. With masks, once you apply them, you can paint in black and white to remove, to reveal or conceal them. This is not gonna be great, guys. I'm trying to do this really quick. So please don't judge my, my skills here, because I'm just trying to show you guys how this works and how you can adjust it afterwards. Let me zoom in here. Let me just erase as much of this as I can. Get out of here, fake tattoo. I'm gonna do this really quick. I'm gonna go down his arm here. Again, don't judge me, guys. I would never usually do a photo composition like this to make it nice and clean looking. We're just trying to get an example going here. Try not to remove it totally off his arm. Good. All right, so let's just do this. And again, guys, I apologize. This ain't the best work you're ever gonna see. I'm just trying to get a point across here about how these things work. All right, that's fine, that's fine. Nobody's judging here, right? I'm just trying to show you guys live filters. Okay, so now this is on his arm, and it looks a little bit more realistic because the tattoo's been pulled around his arm and not so just sitting on his arm. So it looks a little bit more realistic. So that is a, gonna cough. Sorry about that, everybody. I can always go back and I can change this mesh warp to something different. I can pull it around and move it because again, it's a live layer filter. Okay, so let's do something else. What else do I got? Okay, so in this example, we got this guy who's on the street, and what I'm gonna do is add a live filter layer again, but I'm gonna do it up here this time. No difference which way you do it, but I'm gonna go up to layer, new live filter layer, blur, Gaussian blur. Now I get this little box here. You can see the Gaussian blur has become a child layer to this dude on the street. And if I drag this slider up, the picture's gonna get blurry. Now, I've added that effect, cool. Now, because this live filter also has a mask built into it, I'm gonna grab my paintbrush and I'm just going to start, I'm also, just for reference here, everybody, I'm painting in black because I'm going to paint this effect away. I'm gonna bring him back into focus. Now there's a lot of different ways to do this in Affinity Photo, and maybe this isn't the ideal way to do it. I'm just giving you guys an example. So I'm gonna bring him back into clarity here. So that is how you would bring him back in, because this live layer filter also has a mask built in. You can see over here where I painted it away and expose the original photo. So let's delete that. And let's just do one more thing to bring this all back together. I wanna add a little shadow to this guy. It may not be super realistic, but let's try it. So I'm gonna grab my circle. I'm gonna draw out a black circle here. And what I wanna do is change the perspective because I want it to look like it's flat like we did in the first example. So I'm gonna go to my live filters here. I'm gonna go down to my perspective. And I'm just gonna make it more flat on the ground so it looks like it's on the ground. It's not gonna look too fantastic at this point, but just I want it to be flat. So now I have this black circle. And now I'm gonna add another live filter, and this one's gonna be a Gaussian blur. Same thing as what we did with the whole picture. My slider is going to appear. You can see now under my ellipse, I have a Gaussian blur and I have perspective. And what I'm going to do is drag out this circle out so it gets nice and blurry. Now 100, it maxes out on the bar here, but I explained in a couple different videos before. You can type whatever you want in here. It just, the slider bar seems to give you only 100, but you can do more. So now I have this like black shadow here, which I could move around. So I'm going to put it over here. And again, it may not look super realistic, but this is a live filter, so I could always change the perspective by clicking here and moving this thing around. I can change the perspective that way. And I can also change the blur by clicking on it and bringing it either down or back up or making it even more than it was before. So that is an example of some live filters. Now there's a lot of different ones and they do a lot of cool stuff. Some of them are just one-offs if you're doing something neat, but go through them, check them out. I'll do another video on more of them. I hope this one was helpful. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Just leave me a comment. I'll get right back to you. And if you like the video, I mean, do you think maybe you could just tap the like button for me? That would be fantastic. And if this video was helpful and you haven't seen any of my other stuff, why don't you go ahead, subscribe, say what's up. That'd be cool. You'd be cool. I'd be cool. And I will see you guys in the next one.